You have me there. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Standout Summit. Are you ready to stand out? Because I am ready to stand out. And I think Rich here is ready to stand out. Are you ready to stand out, Rich?
I am ready to stand out. This has been a great summit, preparing, getting ready for it. And kudos to Shannon Peel, the friendly, wonderful lady in the cube here with me today. She's the creator, the originator, and out of her mind came the Standout Summit.
Yes, because I was getting tired of not standing out. So I wanted to find out, how can we stand out? And what better way to do it than to create a summit and bring people in to tell me how they stand out, and to have some discussions around that with panels and dive further into that to find out, hey, there's got to be a way someone like me and someone like you can stand out in today's digital marketplace.
You know, I do want to know this. Canadians stand out and Americans stand out.
Do I really say stand out? I don't even know how I say it.
I think it's beautiful. We're reaching around the world, and there are those little differences. So out or out, whatever you want to go with today, we're going to help you stand out over the next 5 days.
Well, we could take whatever route we wanted to, because, you Canadians, Americans spell funny too.
So there's a feedback loop somewhere in us. Thank you for letting us know. By the way, the chat box is open for communication for the next 2 hours. Shannon and I will be here. Shannon is going to give a brief keynote to set the table for what we're going to get into this week. I'm going to give you my keynote as well on becoming your own brand empire. And then we're also going to highlight some of the people today that are coming up throughout the entire week. And it's going to be for 2 hours every day. Echo is horrible. I
Who's
wonder.
Echo? Mine or Rich's?
Is it mine, Rich's, or is it Shannon's? Let's see who's worse here today as we get going. So Shannon, tell us a little bit about the plans and just some of the highlights of the week and some of the things that you're really excited about.
Well, let's see. The event itself is going to be 3 speakers a day. And then we're going to have a panel where we're going to dive deeper into the things that the speakers told us about. There's going to be a networking event at the end where we can all come together Friday afternoon and get to know the speakers and each other. And I have a special announcement, Rich.
You have a special announcement? I am always ready.
Because this isn't just this week.
No way.
No way.
Get this all again?
So, as you know, everyone that buys a ticket gets the whole week. And they get the book. They get a digital book that will be launching March 20th. And everyone that has a ticket is invited to the party. So we're going to have a big networking thing, a big party on March 20th. And everyone that came to the summit or bought a advanced copy of the book, which will be even more than the summit ticket. So you want to make sure you get a summit ticket. You will be able to come March 20th. And we're going to have lots of stuff, because it gives me, a few weeks to come up with some really great prizes and some really great things. And there's another thing, Rich. Did you know that I'm going to give away some free tickets today?
No, I did not. I'm your partner. Now, I did just put in the chat for everyone streaming along. Today is open to the public. We did this as a bonus today. We are streaming on multiple platforms right now. And I dropped a link in to register, only $25 for the rest of the week. Those will be closed, not open streaming for everybody, but they will be here. And this book you're talking about, Shannon, this is the content book built off of the summit, correct?
Correct. And it's going to have a lot of extra things than just what you learn at the summit. What?
So
there's going to be a lot of things.
It's bonus.
It's a bonus. It's a digital book. This is not something that you can buy on eBay. It's not an ebook. It's not a paper book. This is a multimedia interactive digital book where there's video embedded, and there's going to be podcast episodes, audio, articles. You can put in comments, you can rate things, plus so much more.
Now,
and I don't want to give it all away, because why would I give it all away?
So this is built off the content you're going to see and get from our many experts. And then there's also stuff above and beyond what you're going to see and get here. And not to slide by what Shannon just said, she's going to give away a free ticket to come for the rest of the week, right?
Yes. So if you want to enter for that free ticket, go to, and Rich will put this in the thing because he's a little closer to the keypad than I am. I'm going to get you to go to marketappeal.com/summit, singular. And on there, you're going to find a form that's just asking for your name and your email so that we can send you the ticket. And I'm going to use a random drawer while Rich is doing his presentation to pick out the winners. So I'm not even going to pick. I'm just going to let the random drawer do it.
So the random drawer is going to be, it's like the claw. It's going to reach in there and magically pull it out, and you just give us the great information, right?
Oh, it's a digital one. Yes. And then I just tell you the names. So make sure that if you want a free ticket to this event, because it's going to be packed full of actionable ideas to help you stand out in today's marketplace, not just on social media, but online. So, because it isn't just about social media. There's a lot of channels that you can utilize in order for people to know who you are and why they should hire you or buy your product.
And really, this is about you being the brand of your entire media empire. You are the brand, not the things you sell.
Empire. It's a lot of work. And I sit there and I listen to people, repurpose your content, do this, do that, do this. And it's just like, you know what, I do, and it's a full-time job. So I don't know how anyone who makes money otherwise can do it, because I do it from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed, and it's still not enough.
So just got a message from Jim that somehow there's a block on, check the chat if you could, and see if you can figure out what Jim might be talking about there. And I just lost it in the chat. So Jim, put that back there if you could, please. Somehow that got dropped out of our chat as we're getting going here today, but there was a block on a feed or something, and I want to make sure we're not missing anything as we get rolling here. Shannon will be launching off in their talk in a few minutes. Also, if you need to have other emails and chats, always feel free to use either one of our emails. Mine is rich@richbontrager.net. And Shannon, what is your best email while we're streaming live here today, kicking off the summit?
Well, all you need to know is my name, Rich. My email address is shannon@shannonpeel.com.
And Shannon, you said I have some crackle in your microphone. I don't know if you had some snap, crackle, pop, or what you had going on, but you got a little popping going on. Or maybe it's a lot of popcorn last night, or what?
Well, you never know. You never know. It's, I'm really sorry. I don't know what's going on here, but I am sorry for any issues that we're coming on to now. I can't see Jim's comment, so I'm sorry, Jim.
Somehow,
whatever the block is, I really want you to be a part of this, so don't panic. Rich, what are we going to do with the replay?
Well, repeat your link one more time, if you would. Repeat that link that people need to go register for the prize. Make sure they have it right. I did drop it into the chat, but give it out for everyone else again, please. We have a request for that.
Sure. It is marketappeal.com. And Market Appeal is spelled a little wrong. Even for Canadian, it's spelled wrong. It's Market A-P-E-E-L, just like a banana, just like the verb to peel, because it is my last name. So marketappeal.com/summit. And that's singular, S-U-M-M-I-T. No fancy
and it
Canadian
is
spelling
in
there.
the chat in there, and I will star that and see if that helps make it pop out any better. Shannon, are you ready to get our first conversation of the summit underway, of the Standout Summit 2023? Are you ready to take center stage and kick this off?
I'm ready to kick this off. Are you ready to kick this off? I am ready because I'm ready.
Shannon Peel is the creator of the Standout Summit. She is the CEO and founder of Market Appeal, as you just heard her say. And I am going to bring her center stage. Well, no, let's see if we can do this another way. Shannon, take over center stage. Hopefully we're going to be able to get you on center stage here. Let's see here.
Will you let me know?
All right, what I'm going to do is click on that and click you there. Nope. Stand by, everybody.
Technical difficulties are always a problem with live, so apologies. I'm sorry. As a Canadian, we love that word. I think it's the first word that we all have as children.
So you're ready. I'm going to step off stage, and you are on center stage. Here's Shannon Peel.
Hello. So, what is it that you want to be known for? Can you answer that question? I ask that question to every one of my Brand Appeal podcast guests. And some of them have a great answer that is aligned with the objective of being on my show. And yet others are like deers in the headlights, scrambling for an answer and come up with something more personal. Like, I want to be a great dad. I want to be a great mom. I want to be known for helping the community. So, but what is it that you want to be known for? Do you know that answer? Because if you don't know what you want to be known for, how can the market? Because you're probably telling the wrong stories to the right people at the wrong time. And that's why you need to know what it is that you want to be known for. And that's what I'm going to tell you today. So oftentimes brands, they craft a value statement, a mission statement. They have the values on their walls. But their behaviors and how their employees deal with each other, how they provide service to the customers, falls short of those values. Why is that? Well, usually it's because they just pick a value out that sounds good, that they think their audience wants them to be, and yet are surprised when they are unable to complete it. Now, why is this so important? Well, bad reviews are the result of missed expectations. So if you miss an expectation, perceived or communicated, expect a bad review. And if you're telling one story, but it's not natural for you to behave in that manner, then you're going to have a problem. I mean, think of dating. I told when my kids started dating, I told them, think of the behaviors. Don't listen to the words, think of the behaviors. You go on a date with someone and they tell you that they're attentive and caring and kind and will always be there for you. And a month goes by and all of a sudden they're not showing up. They ghost you. They stand you up. Why is that? Because what they think they are and what they really are two different things. Just think of it this way. Someone tells you that their integrity is their number one value, but they can't get to a meeting on time. Is it because integrity is the wrong value? Or is it because they just don't know what integrity means? And a lot of times that's the case with buzzwords. I mean, think about it. What does entrepreneur mean? How many of you have gone to a job, looked at the job board and been reading the job descriptions and the ads, and it says, we're looking for someone who is entrepreneurial. Isn't the definition of an entrepreneur someone who doesn't fit in a box, someone who wants risk and to go their own way? So how does that type of person fit in a job where they have to follow directions from a manager? So is that the right word that people should be using? Or are they just using a buzzword, hoping that they're going to get somebody that's going to, not have to be micromanaged? It's important to use the right words when you are talking about who you are and your story and what people can expect from you. Because when you confuse them, people, when they're confused, they'll assume that they know. They'll pretend that they know, but really they're confused. And then you have miscommunication and you wonder why? your customers are falling off? Well, could be because you made one promise and they got another one. So brands who tell the market they believe in Black Lives Matter, but then you go and you find out that everyone that they hire is white. That's a PR nightmare for them now, isn't it? They jump on a bandwagon, they say that that's their value, and now they've got a problem. It's kind of like marrying Prince Charming and waking up with Charles Manson. Now, come on. It's the signs that you need to look for when you're talking to a brand. How do they behave? How do they treat their employees? How do they treat their customers? How do they treat you? That's what's going to matter. So you have to know your values and how you behave in order to make those messages correct. Now, I know that I'm beating a dead horse here because that is that important. Now, because you don't want to have a bait and switch. No one likes a bait and switch. And brands like Patagonia, they have cult followings because they have a value that they live by. And it's a value that their customers also have. So they get brand loyalty. And that Patagonia on the jacket becomes a badge of honor. And they want to show the world that they have the same value as Patagonia, which is about saving the world. And they shop there over and over again. Even if Patagonia tells them that if they don't need a jacket, not to buy one. So think about your favorite brands. Now, when I was a kid, yes, I'm, in the 80s, the Coke wars were on. And it was very apparent the values of Coke and Pepsi. Coke was very traditional, family, community. Those were their values, and you could see it in their advertising. Pepsi was all about youth and energy and the next trend, and you could see that in their commercials and their advertising and everything else that they did. And they had two distinct things, and you could understand someone's values by the type of drink that they chose. Same thing with Apple. How many of you remember the commercials, I'm an Apple, I'm a PC? What a brilliant campaign, because it enabled Apple to they enabled Apple to show their values and show how they were different than PCs. And they even took it a step farther, which was really good of them, which was really smart of them, to say what PC's shortcomings were without highlighting their own, which is why Apple has this value system that is so ingrained in their culture. And it is the same value system that Steve Jobs had. If you look at their values today and their values back in 1984 or whatever, they're the same. I mean, yeah, there's some more contemporary language and they've put in stuff about the environment. But for the most part, at the core of their values, they're the same. And they're the same values that Steve Jobs had. And it's how they have their culture. It's how they deal with their people. And Steve Jobs was clear. He was very clear. He said, and I'm sorry, I have to read this one. Marketing is about values. It's a complicated and noisy world, and we're not going to get a chance to get people to remember much about us. No company is. So we have to be really clear about what we want them to know about us. That's what he said. And then he went on to talk about Apple, how their core values was to honor people who think that they can change the world with their passion and make the best products in the market and focus on selected products that they could develop and innovate. When I talk to a lot of branding professionals on brand appeal, one of the things that they say is they get people coming to them and saying, yeah, I want to be like Apple. And that's a big statement because one, Apple's Apple. You can't be Apple. Apple's already taken. But you can be like Apple if you figure out what your core values are and you live them. You create a culture around them and you treat your employees and customers based on those values. Now, you got to remember, Apple wasn't always the number one choice. Think about it. In the 80s and early 90s, throughout most of the 90s, Apple was not the number one choice. It wasn't until 1997 when the iPod came out and Mr. Jobs came back to the company with a whole new storytelling approach to how to communicate his values of the company over the products themselves. So, how can you find out your core values? That's what I'm going to give you a little bit of an exercise right now. So if you have a pen and a paper, write down one core value, just one. Got it? Okay, now I want you to define it without Googling the dictionary. In your own words, what does that word mean? And I want you to keep that idea, like if you don't have a piece of paper, it's okay, just keep it in your head about what that core value is, what that word means to you. How hard was it for you to come up with that idea? And how far is the definition away from the actual definition in the dictionary? So you're going to have to Google it eventually, but I want you to know what it is beforehand. Now, the thing is I do have a free ebook for you. And if you go to marketappeal.com/summit and enter for the draw, I will email you the free ebook to help you find your 5 core values, define them, and then come up with stories about how you exemplify those values to the world. And you'll have a story to share with people on social media and on your blog and podcast or wherever else you tell your stories that will help you stand out to the right people online. Because it's all about telling the right story to the right people at the right time along their customer journey. Rich, I'll leave it back to you because
So values are huge. And I like the idea that you're talking about what is your main core value. So mine is, I've got 2, depending on the day you ask me, it's fun and passion. Because if I'm not having fun, Shannon, I'm not doing it. Right?
That's true. Yeah, that's for you. Like for me, fun is not a core value.
And passion for me, as you know, I can't help but show up a little bit cranked up more than everybody else.
Yes.
My passion, my zest overflows, and that does connect with people when you tell the stories, when you talk about you and your brand, you talk about how you help and you coach people. People go, that guy's a little bit different, but he's fun, and my values are actually helping me do it. But I also am curious about, I want to go back to what you said about the Mac versus PC thing, because that's a great illustration. That market campaign went on and on and on. But what's interesting about that marketing campaign was other companies copied it and replicated ad campaign. It didn't just work for one because it was clear, simplistic, value driven. People went, it works.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, you have to know what your core values are. You have to know what that word means, and you have to be able to communicate how you exemplify that brand.
So how do you do that with your brand, with Market Appeal? How do you demonstrate that and have that value system built in to what you do?
Well, as you know, I work hard. So hard work is one of my number 1 values. And I get it from my parents, I get it from my grandparents and my great-grandparents. It is a multi-generational value in our home that I've passed on to my children. So hard work is seen in the fact that I have so much content out there and how I up the game and raise the bar on everything that I do.
So mine is done very clearly. And what I tell people is I'm here to help you hone your media skills so you stand out from the crowd and elevate you and your brand authority as a go-to expert. That's completely summarizes what I do, but those are my values. I'm going to help you with media skills because media skills are important. We're going to talk about that this morning. We are going to help you stand out like we're doing all week long right here. We're committed to it. And the result is going to be because they see you as a go-to expert, and then the phone rings, the booking rings, and you make more money and grow your brand. That's the end result. And by the way, if you work with me, you're going to have fun doing it.
That is for sure. That is 100% because my fun factor quadrupled when you came on board.
Now, the other thing
I'm a more serious type of person, honest.
And now I've messed you totally up for life.
Yes.
Let's talk more about that brand loyalty because you really flew over that. There is something about brand loyalty that it's the return customers, the clients, the referrals. There's so much more, but how do you help build that brand loyalty? Because when there's so much noise out there right now.
Oh, I know. And one little slip up and boop, oh, they're gone because, there's so much choices out there, and we are entitled to get exactly what we want when we want it, right?
Yes.
Well, brand loyalty starts with having the right customers. If you have the right customers because you have told your story to attract the right customers, and Lisa Fredrickson is going to be talking more about how you can get the right customers further in on, I think it's on Wednesday or Thursday. And so she's going to give us 7 steps to make sure that we have the right customers. But when you start with that values-based, you get the right people, you attract the right people. And we intrinsically trust those who are like us and distrust those who aren't. So if we intrinsically trust you because we see ourselves in you, we are going to give a little bit more grace than if we see you as completely different and not like us because we don't understand. We don't have the empathy to understand why that went the way that it did.
Well, and when you go through those 5 values again, now you bring in those 5 values help you hone your ideal customer as well. So you're not just shooting in the dark. The more you know your 5 values, you'll know what the values of your ideal client are, and you're going to know how to talk their language, where they're hanging out, how to best connect to them. And those values help you sharpen everything. Without those, a lot of times you are shooting blanks everywhere.
Well, you said it, you need to know where your customer hangs out. And I'm going to be talking more about that further in the event because not only do you get Rich and Me today, if you have a ticket, we are going to talk more. And I will be talking more about how to identify that customer, how to connect with them, and how to bring it all together. And that will be on Friday. And Rich has a time that he'll be talking as well about another one of his great insights.
So, by the way, if you have questions for us, drop in the chat. We are monitoring on the different channels that we are on in here. And so please drop in a question if you would. I do want to have one more question on this because there's something that I think a lot of people are skeptical of any summit, any event, any webinar because of the bait and switch that you talked about earlier.
Drives me nuts.
The bait and switch went on steroids during pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
People were saying, I'm going to give you 5 great tips to help you blank, 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 blank. And you got to their webinar and they gave you 1, maybe 2. And they're like, oh, we're out of time. I'm sorry. Got to come back next week and I'll give you another 3. And then you came back and they gave you another 1 or 2. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, but I had to recap everything you missed before. And it went on. And people flamed out.
Yeah.
So one of the promises, one of the values that we have here is we promise you good content, great people, the booklet, all the things. So the value is even if you miss a day or 2, once you buy your ticket, these resources are yours.
Yes, you get the replay. You know what? Another thing I find frustrating is when they say, "Hey, it's a free ticket," and you get there, and all that's free is the live, and you have to pay $50, $70, $80, $200 to get the replay. Why? So that's why tickets are $25. That's why they include the live, they include the replay, they include the networking, and they include the digital book.
People are saying thank you. They're loving it, and they're glad that we're not messing around with them.
Well, I don't like to be messed around with. I don't like that bait and switch. My brand is my name. I have to protect it. I have to make sure that what I'm promising you, you're going to get. Because if I don't, it's my name that's in the mud. Not only that, can't pay my bills if I keep baiting and switching everybody. It's too much work.
Again,
why do people do that? It's so much work to get you to pay attention to us.
Well, and that's where there's so much noise out there.
Switch somebody?
And well, the noise is so loud, you bait and switch them, you turn them off. So the next really good deal that comes up, everyone is so skeptical. And we've now turned consumers, we've turned clients, we've turned great messaging into a scare tactic. It's been made harder for so many quality people that have done and planned great events, and then they're a bust because everyone was like, I can't trust you. So part of our goal this week is to bring back trust. That if we're all not shysters, we're all not bait and switching, that what we promoted, that what we said, that's what's on the Market Appeal website is actually going to take place this week.
Yes. Yes, because I am known for delivering more than expected. And I want to continue that. I'm proud of that being what I'm known for.
So let's give a little insight to some of the week coming up here. And again, I'm going to bring up the website here and have the website join us. And you can talk through some of these wonderful things that you have planned for us, because it really is a super lineup. And these, first of all, people are going to see us, know us, great, wonderful, fine. But who are these wonderful two other people here?
Okay, so Lillian Sue is a PR specialist and publicity coach. She's going to help us understand how to get into the media, how to get our names quoted in articles, how to get interviewed, and why that's so important to your brand in helping you stand out in today's market. And I think it has a lot to do with that T word. And then James Hipkin is a website specialist and digital marketer. And he's going to come and tell you how you can ensure that your ideal audience, once they see you, will find that button to buy your services and then become advocates. Because there's nothing worse than driving down an information highway, getting that information, going, yes, yes, yes. And then all of a sudden you got to hit the brakes, because either you're going to do a Thelma and Louise off that Grand Canyon that's standing between you and what you want, because you don't know where to go. And so you turn around, you find the nearest off-ramp, and you go find the competition. That happens so much because our digital footprints aren't built out properly. And James is going to help us with that.
And he's really good at the SEO, the website functionality, and what drives them, what turns them away, how many clicks to get into the gate and, get into the good stuff. He knows all of that wonderful, wonderful content. Looking forward to that. Then we have some other folks that, again, Shannon lined up the great lineup. I just kind of rolled on her coattails for that part of it.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good. So Ilana Lepre she is a business consultant who helps businesses scale up and when you scale up, you get bigger. And as you get bigger, you get noticed more because you have more bandwidth. You hopefully have a little bit more money. Hopefully you have some employees to help you out. And it's all about getting noticed by becoming bigger and making those right strategic choices. Lisa Fredrickson, as I said, is going to be talking to us about how to make sure that you've got the right customers so that you don't end up with those headaches and those bad reviews. Now, Rich, I don't know if you knew this, but I worked for an online review site for 3 years.
No.
Yeah, and I would get calls at 7 a.m. Like I had 300 accounts. And I get calls at 7 a.m. saying, Shannon, I've got this bad review. I need you to get rid of it. I'd be like, well, I can't really get rid of it because, the platform doesn't do that. But let's look at this bad review and figure out how to answer it and how come you got it. And most of the time, it was because of perceived expectations. Not even promises that they made, but things that customers thought they would be getting. So that's really important to know.
So, as we saw in the comments earlier from Sarah, this is all about fostering trust. As we're going through some of the lineup this week, Sarah, yes, we're fostering trust right now. But what Shannon just said is about fostering trust. And it's something every entrepreneur, business person online needs continuing to keep in front of them. I cannot stretch this enough with the clients that I work with. If you're not continuing messaging, relaying trust, you're safe with me. We're going to come through this. You'll lose them after a while because trust has been shattered. This is so important to do. So, Shannon, thank you for that. Who's going to be our next person coming up here?
Well, we got Gabrielle Waterman, and she is a podcaster. She is a networker. She knows a lot of people, this connected woman, and she's going to be talking to us about how to be a good interviewee. So you get onto a podcast, how can you rock that interview and stand out, as well as what to do afterwards. Now, Earl Matta is the evil marketing genius. And let me tell you, I know this guy personally. He's from Vancouver. He is an evil marketing genius. This guy, he's just so creative. He comes up, it's like, he says something and it's like, I never thought of that. Why didn't I think of that? That's so obvious. He just knows how to stand out. And his claim to fame is he can help any business find $100,000 without doing any advertising or marketing.
Okay, who right now in the chat wants to have big, paying, consistent clients? Put in the chat right now. Who wants big, consistent, paying clients? I would love to see people like virtually scream into the chat box right now because that's what we all want, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like nickel, dime, nickel, dime, nickel, dime, don't you want to have a couple big fish that you can be more selective? You can really do some big, juicy things and still work on those other side gigs. But so often we're just running from one thing to another thing because they don't pile up to be something big enough.
Mm-hmm.
But now we got a guy that's going to teach you how to do it.
And not only that, I would, if I were you, I would connect with Earl because he is, like I said, he's a smart guy. He understands how it all works.
I see an I do come flying in the chat. Now I'm going to put this up on the screen for a second. Like big, bold letters. I do. You got it. There you go.
Love it.
That's why we're doing this. That's why we want people to be engaged, use a chat, be involved, and do all this with us because it's really, really important to step up and let us know. Also in the chat, if you would, let us know what topics you're interested in, whether it's this summit or future summits that we are working on together. Yes, you won't get rid of us this easy. There's going to be more summits coming up, but what topics would interest you? What are the things that help you scale up? We'd love to hear about it as we continue through the next part of our lineup. And again, the hits go on and on here.
Yeah, so Chad Koppenspire he's going to be talking to us about how to be you, how to stand out as you. He inspires us to not have the imposter syndrome and to just do it.
Well, and he's going to talk about the diversity.
Yes.
And even in the diversity, we're told to be us. We're told to be authentic. We're told to be special. And then at the same time, wrong thing on the screen, Richard. I will bring that back in a moment. But he's telling us about amazing, wonderful things. But at the same time, he's also saying, take a chance.
Yes.
People want you to be authentic and real. And part of that is just take a chance. So he's one of those cheerleaders of take a chance, be yourself, and get out there. And he's going to talk a little bit about that. Just a little.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, one of the presentations that I give at Lunch and Learns and things is about how to tell a vulnerability story without becoming vulnerable. Because it's not easy. I mean, the world loves to judge us, right? But there's a way to tell your story.
Mhm.
Now, Bonnie, you know what? Rich, help me out here.
Bonnie Chomika.
Chamika.
Chomika. Practice
Ah,
that, everybody. Practice
I'm
that.
so sorry.
She
Anyway,
was great
Shane,
on
say
my
sorry
2 p.m.
again.
live, by
Bonnie
the way.
Shamika,
She was
I'm so
awesome.
sorry for that. But she is going to tell us how to create standout content. That's right, content that stands out, that people will engage with. And notice, Carolyn Chote. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, Carolyn. You know me, I watch it every single time. Now, Carolyn is a funnel genius. She creates funnels, sales funnels, and specifically in the book industry, but she can create anybody a sales funnel. But she's coming on to talk to us about how to get traffic utilizing YouTube, and then use that sales funnel to make that sale.
And YouTube has had major algorithm changes, but also tools. Like, did you know they have a community aspect to your YouTube page now? You can build a community right there to engage with you. That's the stuff we're going to learn more about.
Well, she's going to bring all that to us and how we can get more out of YouTube than ever before. And Richa is a podcaster, and she specializes in B2B podcasting and teaching people how to set up their podcasts and get connected with people in the B2B world.
Then we have
Daniel Andrews. Now, Daniel Andrews is a networking community building specialist, and he will be talking to us about, not really sure. I'm pretty sure it's all around about that. Okay, sorry, not really prepared for that one. Daniel was a last minute addition, so please excuse that. But yeah, no, he is, he knows his stuff. He really does know stuff about networking and how to connect and how to build community. So I know it'll be good, whatever it is.
Well, and again, we may have some few other surprises dropping in here as well over the course of today's the opening day. We are streaming live on multiple channels. So to give you a flavor, I'm going to have another keynote coming up on building your brand empire in just a little bit. So stick around. We're also going to field more questions from you and keep this very interactive. But then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, noon Eastern time to 2 o'clock Eastern time, these amazing people will be stepping on stage, and Dan and I will moderate, coach, elevate, and have a great time with each one of these along the way. So here's what you need to do. You need to bring a water bottle with you every day.
A notepad and a pen, because there's going to be a lot of stuff dropping, let me tell you.
Yep.
And if it doesn't drop, we will get it to drop.
And then remember that you can still register to be a part of this overall amazing event. I'm going to drop that in the chat again for anyone that's sliding in here late. We want to make sure you're a part of this. It's only $25. And what does that get you for $25?
Well, it gets you access to every live presentation at 9 a.m. PST, which is noon your time, I believe, Rich, over at Eastern Standard Time.
Noon here.
So anytime, it starts anytime between 9 and noon, depending on where you are in the world. And there is a panel after. So we bring in 3 speakers, and then we have a panel, and we dive deeper into those ideas and ask them questions and get more actionable ideas for you. It also includes all the replays, plus a networking party, wrap-up party on Friday afternoon, as well as the book, the digital book, which will be filled with even more stuff than what you learned this week, and worksheets, tips, things that bite-sized things that you can actually go, okay, you know what? I like that idea. I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to do it because I got a worksheet to figure it out.
And each one of these speakers will also give you their emails, direct access. You can follow up and talk with them, ask their own questions, build the relationship. After you're done with this summit, follow up, connect, follow them on LinkedIn, on Facebook, but also email them, because that's why they want to make more connections to help you do better and better. Now, I did mention earlier there are more summits coming our way, and I wanted to just let you know, be on the watch out for more of this goodness. Shannon, you've already got things in the hopper.
Well, my goal is 40 summits a year, all scheduled like this one. So that's 40 weeks a year with 15 speakers per summit, no more than 15, because I don't want to overload audiences, myself, or the speakers themselves. I want to make sure that every single speaker gets their chance to talk to the full audience, and the full audience gets the chance to consume the content that they want to consume when it's most convenient for them. Plus, each one will have a book. And
So
each book will have a launch party.
So we have speaking and marketing, which already is on the calendar.
Yes, we have the Beyond Trauma Summit. Now, the Beyond Trauma Summit, which is happening in March, is all about how you can get beyond those events in your life that were traumatic and that are holding you back because, let's face it, we get protective. We start distrusting people. We start doing the things that stop opportunities from coming to us, stop people from trusting us, and stop us from getting the clients that we want, the promotion that we want, the love that we want. So it's all about getting beyond that trauma to have a better life. And we're going to be talking about the positive stuff. You know, I get trauma is kind of a bad word, but you know what? It's all about having that better life. Well, and after that, we have the Embrace Equity.
Well, hang on for 1 second. Before we go to that one, I just, when we first started to talk about the trauma one, it was kind of like, okay, this could be cool. This could be neat. I'm just going to say I was blown away by the response of the people that were in the Zoom room with us having this conversation about what other, and that trauma one was like, wait, I want to do that. I want to do that. And the stories that came out immediately were like, this could be a game changer for people. So please do not pass over. It's not just physical trauma. It's not just emotional. It's not just the trauma layers that we're going to get into on that summit are going to go all over the place. And I was amazed just from the early conversation of how powerful. And then someone said, well, can't we do another one later on this year? Like, wait,
we're going to have to, because I'm getting so many speakers for that one. And like I said, I'm topping it off at 15 and I'm speaking at it. So really, I'm topping it off at 14 because I'm going to be talking about how you can change your narrative from victim language to hero language to get the success you want.
So I just have a request really quickly. People want to make sure that I put in the link to register. People are getting jazzed up about this. So hang on for one moment here. And I want
to register for what?
Register for the summit. This summit. People are getting
this summit.
Yes. I want to make sure.
Send them.
Actually,
send them, Rich.
Well, yes, I do. Actually, I'm going to drop in on this one for 1 second here, everybody. Stand by. This is what we get for live. I'm going to send you to the main, that page we were showing with the different summits on there. I just dropped that in the chat. I want to make sure LinkedIn has it as well because some of the links don't go through. And I'll make sure they have that on LinkedIn. So go check out that whole page that we just showed you. And please do join this one as well. But make sure you check out those other ones because that would be just as important. So
yeah, if you want to know about future summits, if you want to be a speaker at future summits, make sure that you go to that page, marketappeal.com/summit, where you are to enter your information for the draw because there's two other things there. And one is asking you for, hey, if you want to be are they there? They should be there.
Yeah, they're in.
One that says, hey, I want to be a speaker, and the other one that says, hey, I want to come to a future summit. Let me know when the new ones come out. Let me know. Those are two separate mailing lists.
And then we do have the Embrace Equity Summit. Why don't you briefly tell us about that?
Well, Embrace Equity Summit. Now, this is one of those words that really threw me for a loop because when I come out of the financial industry, so equity to me means stocks, bonds, mutual funds, but that's not what this is. This is the Embrace Equity in the Workforce Summit. So if you have a bigger company, if you work at a company, if you have employees and you want to ensure that you're embracing equity in your workforce, you want to come to this summit. I mean, I've got some pretty big names that are helping me organize it, and they are passionate about increasing diversity, equity, and inclusion in the corporate world.
So
then
that's some of the big stuff coming in. As I'm sharing this, I'm trying to keep up with the other stuff. And believe me, we just got a whole other hour to go. So we have more time and we're going to keep resharing these links. Shannon, what are some of the big things that you're most excited about coming up this week? What are some of special things that you think might be a standout?
You know what? I'm really looking forward to the book launch. I'm really looking forward to doing the book itself. But, I am enjoying this, being on camera, hosting, listening to things, and I can't wait to learn how to stand out on some of these things, because it's not about standing out on one thing. It's about bringing all the pieces together in your marketing strategy to ensure that you stand out to the right people at the right time. And whether it is going to be James telling you how to put that footprint together, Lisa telling you how to quantify your audience or your audience, or Carolyn with the YouTube and maybe some talking about the funnel itself. Oh man, I can't even think. Like Daniel talking about meeting people, how to meet people, how to, there's just so much. Friday is going to be amazing. Friday is going to be the party.
Well, one of the
Who doesn't like
speakers
the party?
I heard
And I am going to have to figure out some great stuff to give people who get the ticket and show up at the party, because I am all about giving stuff away.
one of the fun
Why
things
you need to get your name into the draw so that I'll take the draw while Rich is giving us his presentation.
one of the fun things I heard this past week was one of the speakers I was working with saying how to vet people you want to work with.
Mm-hmm.
How to actually vet people that you do or do not want to work with. They got into a whole conversation with it. And I thought that was ingenious, because we all get so many emails. We got so many fans, friends, likes, shares. And sometimes half that stuff is a waste of time. Sorry, it is.
Mm-hmm.
But this person was talking about, I have a system that helps me vet people so I don't waste time. And I thought, now that's a beautiful conversation. How many of you would like to streamline your process and not have all these Zoom calls that go nowhere? Have all these emails that go nowhere? How would you like to have a system that literally helps you, as we talked about earlier, Shannon, back to you, the value points the direction and you stay on point?
Well, I think everyone in Vancouver would love that, because Vancouver is really good for, let's have another coffee. Let's have another coffee. Not going to make a decision today.
We're not going to make one.
No, but Rich, you know what? I think it's time that we hear from you.
All right. I'm going to step
you
off
ready?
stage for 1 second. You do what you're going to do for mine. I'll be right back.
Okay. So everyone, you know what? I am so thrilled that Rich is part of this and that he came on, because he has just upped the level, the professionalism, the energy of these summits so that they are interesting for you to be at. And the promotion, man, you got to check out his 2 p.m. live. And that's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, not Pacific Time, as I found out. But anyway, so Rich Trigger Bontrager is the creator and host of How to Rock the Stage show, which airs live each week, Wednesday night. And that's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Rich hosts the National Speakers Association, NSA, podcast, author of Forums, and the new NSA Live show, Behind the Stage. That sounds very interesting, especially if you want to be a speaker. Now, entrepreneurs, executives, and speakers will hire Rich to unleash their brand authority by learning media savvy skills that help them shine on camera and stage. And let me tell you, Rich has those skills because he's got 30 years experience in that industry. So Rich, are you ready?
I am ready. Thank you very much, Shannon. And we'll let Shannon take a little break here. Again, happy to be doing this with Shannon. And we're going to do a lot more of these summits and conferences. And seriously, we do want to hear from you. So please put in the chat some of the ideas you have, because we literally partner with people to help them create great, amazing summits. So I'm all about helping you amplify you as the brand authority. The world has changed since the pandemic, and it was changing before pandemic, but pandemic hit and everything went on steroids to now you are the brand authority. And today I'm going to break down some things to help you do that. But I'm going to help you do that by building your own media empire. Do you know you can build your own media empire? And it doesn't cost you near what you think it would cost you. I'm going to start you off with a little story. I want to take you back to Richie being a little kid, just a small little kid. One of the biggest thrills of my family was watching 2 shows on Sunday nights. This will date me, but we would get together first for Mutual Omaha Wild Kingdom, Sunday nights. Marlon Perkins and the alligators and all the amazing animals. But the show that I really love, even more than that, was The Wonderful World of Disney. Walt Disney, Uncle Walt, as many people called him after a while, the creator of Mickey Mouse and Space Mountain, all these incredible things that we now know and love. Walt had Sunday nights, and the beginning was always a setup to get ready for the main feature. Walt would start off behind his desk in his TV studio office, and he would walk out around. And sometimes he had a model of something new at Disney. Sometimes he had some of the drawings up on the wall, and he would take you into the next evolution of Disney. But Walt would always vision cast and talk about the power of Disney. And the number one thing about Disney was the mouse. Everything revolved around Mickey Mouse. Walt Disney made it very clear, going back to the values that we heard earlier, the values of Disney were, in the end, the mouse wins. Keep it on point. As they built the empire, Mickey would always be number one. But that power of that brand, the whole branding became Walt and Mickey, Mickey and Walt. There are statues as you walk through Disney's where Walt is standing with Mickey. You could not separate the two as being the brand identity of Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Euro, and it went on and on. What if you could be the new Disney? What if you really could actually be that influential in your market space, in your industry, as a go-to expert that outshines the other in there? Because you're more laser focused and you know how to leverage the media. Do you realize that Sunday Nights was a conglomeration deal with ABC and Disney because Disney needed funding for their park? And it was basically a paid advertisement every Sunday night. And Walt Disney and Sunday Night, Wonderful World of Disney, went on for year after year after year. And they built a brand identity that is so strong to this day. If you watch the beginning of those episodes, if you watch Walt in his 15 minutes setting up, and then Walt would turn to the camera and Walt would say, and now here's our feature presentation. Go back and watch those. Most of the time, Walt's 15 minutes were more powerful than Davy Crockett. Then whatever they ran that night as a feature, Walt was better. What if you could do that? We're going to get into that today. First of all, you got to do a mindset with me. Everyone's got to take a mindset here today. Everyone's got to change this into thinking that you are the brand. As Walt and Mickey were the brand, you are the brand. We now live in a media world where we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we're on YouTube, TikTok. We're everywhere. And you do want to be everywhere. That's part of the amazing shift now that we don't need ABC or NBC. You now have media access here. But the different mindset is we're pushing everything out. We're pushing everything further and further out there, and it's not connected. People see this post, people see that post, people see that post, but it's not connected. Today, we live in a media world where NBC has CNBC, NBC Plus. They have the Peacock, and it goes on and on. They have little baby versions, but at the center of it is NBC. At the center of you and the brand is you. You are the actual center of your media universe. You wrote a book. Your book is not your brand. You're the genius that wrote the book, and the book draws people to you. You are the genius of that blog you wrote, not the blog itself. So the blog and all your social media, everything you create needs to point back to you now. It needs to show that you are the center so people will hire you, not just buy your book. They won't just read your blogs. They're going to call you and follow you and hire you. You are the genius of everything you do. Kentucky Fried Chicken has been another one of those mainstays in Americana where people know KFC. The original Colonel was so popular. He did not want to be the face of KFC back in the day. Actually, The guy that founded Wendy's, Dave, Dave worked for the Colonel. Dave was the marketing guy that first pushed the Colonel out the door and said, "You need to be the face. You need to put on the bow tie. You need to put on the mustache." He was that way 24/7. Dave pushed him out to say, "You are the Kentucky Fried Chicken man." And the sales went through the roof. Over the last several years, we have seen other people try to mimic, try to get in the costume to take on being the Colonel. And they have pulled each one off and canceled that ad campaign because they are not the Colonel. They are a fake Colonel and no one wants it, but they want the real Colonel. Recently, I've seen ads. This is so powerful that the brand authority sticks. Recently, I've seen ads where you see the logo of the Colonel and the mouth is moving, and it's the original Colonel from old audio sound bites talking about his chicken, talking about the clients. He's so powerful still today. His voice and the logo is better than the fake guys. Can you be that powerful as the media influencer that you have? You have the reach, the power, the influence. You have the tools like never, ever before. I've been a broadcaster for over 30 years. For over 30 years, I have had a microphone, a camera in my face. I started off in sports play-by-play, sports talk interviews, radio disc jockey. Before there were CDs, for those of us that remember CDs, I was doing reel-to-reel and splicing audio. Who would have thought today I would be streaming on multiple platforms in my own studio without the need of a broadcast studio, and I could reach around the world? As a broadcaster, I totally appreciate the new world we live in. I totally understand the power and the strength that we can get here, but you can do the same thing. So here we go. As we think about this now, go back to thinking like a media empire. I want you to write down and then put in the chat, how many different channels do you have? Like, I've got 2 LinkedIns. I have the Rich Trigger Bond Trigger one, and I have the Rock the Stage Media one. I have 2 Facebook groups or 2 Facebook pages. I have one for Trigger and I have one for Rich Bond Trigger, one personal, one company. I have a Twitter account. I have a TikTok account. I have, at one point, 2 YouTube channels. And the math goes on and on. How many different channels do you have? And drop that in the chat for me. Let me just see how big of a reach you could potentially have here. Because here today on Restream, I start with 5 different channels every time that I go live. And now you're asking, okay, Rich, how many times do you go live? How many times are you really leveraging the media empire you have? Okay, on an average month, here's an average month. I do 20 episodes of my 2 p.m. live mini show. 20 episodes at 15 minutes per time, Monday through Friday. I am live every day at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Before this summit, we were using that show to help promote the different speakers. But per month, I'm doing a minimum of 20 of those live events. 4 times a month, I'm doing How to Rock the Stage show, live streaming. And then I have 3 National Speakers Association shows that are streaming, going live. I have at least 27. That's a minimum of 27 different shows that I host, run, create. And here's the magic of it. I can replay them just like TV does. People will see me, they will know me, and they'll see me in my best form. I'm a media guy. I'm a TV host. I coach people on how to do the very thing I do every day of my life. What a better vehicle for your book, for your business, for your whatever you have. Think what you could do now to leverage yourself as a media brand, not just your company name. Now, let's talk a little bit about the brand story. We're going to get deeper into the brand story this week as well. There's going to be a lot of people talking about you, your brand, and how these different elements all work together. I'm not going to take all of it from everybody, okay? But your brand story. People think of me as Trigger. That's one of my brand stories. But I'm going to take you back to the beginning. I grew up with a horrible stutter. A stutter that kept me from stage and mic. I have a stutter that literally, when I read as a kid, all the way back to early preschool, when you read those Run Dick, Run Jane, Run Dick Jane, when you do those books as a kid, I could not read 3 or 4 words at a time without crying, running out of the room because everyone in the room was laughing at me. The nicknames that I had were the brand I had as a kid. My stutter was a brand that I had. People would call me horrible nicknames. Take Bontrager, the last name. Thank goodness Trigger came along, by the way. But Bontrager has been butchered so many ways that it was embarrassing because they never used my real name. They pretended like they were stuttering, and then they would imitate my name in horrible ways. That was my brand all the way through middle school. Think about that for a second. Those are the formative years of life. Those are the years that kept me out of dramas. Asking a girl out. Do you know how hard it is for a stutterer to ask a girl out? The first thing you want to do when you go out and ask a girl out is you want to walk up with confidence and you want to say, hi. And then they go, hi, I'm Susie. And I go, hi, and it won't come out. I can't say Rich. I could not say Rich. So to say I was a geek that couldn't speak, and that was my brand. That's all anyone knew about this guy that had creative ideas. He had aspirations. Well, my stutter and I finally came to terms with each other. And this is a speaker trick to help everyone here as well, not just stutters. What I had to do was I had to figure out the speed of my brain, the speed of my mouth, and I had to have them come into balance together so I could present, because the knowledge I have in my head is vast. When they tried to put me into the developmental schools, my dad would say, my kid's not dumb. He just can't say anything. When I figured out how to do that, my brand changed. My brand became the guy that was funny, that had a sense of great knowledge and wisdom. Then I did get into some drama. Then I did get into student radio. Then I did get into actually getting on a radio station. Despite the fact in college, my college professor said, because he still believed in no brand, he still believed in the stutter. My college professor said, Rich, you have a great voice, but no one will ever hire you because you can't read the news. Pay attention. To this day, I am not a news journalism. I do not call myself a journalist. I'm a broadcaster. I cannot take a copy of news and read it. Hi, it's a 10 o'clock news and 5 are dead in a horrific car accident. I cannot do that because I will cry or stutter because it's too gut-wrenching for me and I don't like reading someone else's words. Instead, I got in the sports play-by-play and talk show host, and I found out I could ad-lib. I could be myself. I could relax. And that became the new brand. And then Trigger was born. And since then, Trigger has been around for over 36 years now. I'm celebrating 36 years in professional broadcasting. Trigger now is the brand. And there's over 6 pages of Google that point you back to Rich Trigger Bontrager. And you know what I still talk about to this day? I still talk about the stutter and the transformation, because that's what people want to hear. They want to hear your brand story. They want to hear how you got from here to here. What is your brand story? What is the path that makes you unique? When people introduce me on stage, the ending line usually is something along the lines of this, and now here to help you speak better, stand out from the crowd. Here is the professional coach, expert, and he stutters for a living, Rich Trigger Bontrager. And people laugh when I come on stage every time because they think the first thing I'm going to do is, hi, everybody. Instead, I go out and I hit a home run. The brand story is now amplified by the guy that used to not be able to speak. So now he coaches people to speak. What is your brand story? If you can figure that brand story out, my brand story now is I hope you shine on camera, shine on stage to elevate you and your brand authority so you can be seen as a go-to expert. And that's what we're doing all week long here. That's what we're doing all week with the Standout Summit. We're literally helping people do that very thing, equipping them, allowing them to shine and help you so you can shine brighter. The other thing you want to learn, and we're going to talk about this, so I'm not going to crush someone else's thunder this week, but you do need to learn how to talk in sound bites. When you're being interviewed, when you are being put on someone else's show, the number one thing that ruins a show is you giving bad answers. You need to know your brand story. You need to know some clear sound bites that you always get the hook. You will always get the laugh. When people ask people, when they say, Trigger, what makes you unique? And I say, I used to stutter for a living. They're like, you did not. And then I give them a little snippet on it. Or when people check me out on my virtual shows, they always want to know if this is a real room or if this is fake. And they're like, your hands aren't ghosted. How do you do that? This is where you now get to shine and give good answers on interviews. 2 quick tips, and I'll let you save this for one of our other speakers this week. But 2 tips, if you're going to be interviewed, is a great way to grow and amplify your brand. Number 1, replay the reruns of your interviews. And you're going to think, that's nuts. I was interviewed, it's done, it's over with. No. You want to reuse those interviews because not everyone heard them the first time. Put them on your website page, put them on your YouTube channel, but replay those interviews because they will amplify you over and over again. And the other tip I'll give you, when the host is winding down your interview, one of the best things you do to highlight yourself and your brand authority is shut up. Yes, at the end of the show, they're going to give your social links. They're going to give your next speaking gig. They're going to talk about your book for you. They're going to wrap that interview up with everything you wanted them to say. Too many people jump on one more time and overtalk the host, and that great, marvelous ending is completely screwed up. If you want your brand authority to shine at the end of the interview, you just need to do one thing. And everyone can do this. This is 100%, everyone can do this. You just got to smile at the end of the interview. When they're wrapping everything up, nod your head. Smile at the end of the interview, and it will be a home run every single time. I want to wrap up with one other story of media that will help you understand how you can amplify you and your brand beyond measure today. We have the opportunity like never before to show you as an expert in your field. The very first time reruns were ever started was Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. I Love Lucy. I Love Lucy was a smash hit. It was at NBC. And Lucy and Desi had their own production company. The show had been going. It was already a big hit. And what happened was they literally were talking at home one night, and they literally said, what if we did a replay? What if we had our show go back and they could watch it all over again? No one had ever done that before Lucy. And they did the first ever replay of early episodes, because back in that day, you would air it once, and many of the shows were deleted, lost. There are no rerun tapes for early broadcast TV. They literally created the concept of a rerun. Think about some of the biggest rerun shows ever. MASH was not an early success when MASH hit. MASH became a hit after the 3 years. They went into syndication and became a rerun hit after your late night news. And MASH exploded in prime time and on late night. Star Trek is celebrating almost 60 years of Star Trek. And it's in reruns, and then they have different versions, and those versions have reruns, and it goes on and on. You have content. You have content right now as a go-to expert that you may not be leveraging because you are not putting in the reruns. Right now, the biggest thing out there is shorts. Take a short clip from one of your interviews, from one of your shows, from one of your instructional videos. Make a quick little short, 15, 30, 60 seconds max. Play that great soundbite. You get to pick your own sound bites. Put that soundbite and have a link in there that draws it back to the full content. It goes back to YouTube. It goes back to your TikTok. And you can repost this on different platforms. You can do reruns on many platforms now. This is how you become a media brand empire. This is how you stand out from the noise. This is how you literally Say, hi, I'm the new Colonel Sanders of XYZ industry. I'm the new Walt Disney of XY industry. When you learn the media skills, when you learn the things that I coach, that you will show up on camera, you will be engaging, you will know how to story tell, you know how to repurpose and repackage old material. Some of the biggest replay hits I'm getting right now on my TikTok are things that I did 6 years ago in Georgia. We're repurposing old content, putting a new wrapper on it, and people are clicking and loving it because it's not outdated. It's great content. What are you going to do over the course of this week with the Standout Summit? With all the different speakers we're going to have, what are you going to do to build your media empire and launch off in a new direction so you stand out in 2023? Love to hear from you throughout the week. Love to hear what your ideas are. And once again, here's Shannon Peel.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you? That was great, Rich. I loved it because, it is all about building that media empire. And it is a lot of work to build that media empire, but you do get known. I know that when, I was on a show with Rich, and it was before Christmas. I was on one of his 2:00. And afterwards, I was going to an event to take photos of the event. And I walked in, and someone said, "Hey, I saw you on Facebook. You were great." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I don't go on Facebook." Here I was being interviewed by Rich, and they saw the live, and they wanted to see it again. So they were like, "I got to see it again. There's more in there. I missed some things." So I shared it, and they thanked me. I had to go on Facebook to do that, of course.
What everything we've done the last 2 weeks.
You never know who sees you and when they see you. The other thing is, once you start doing this, people start talking about you.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, people are talking about you, and people are coming and trying to find you. So, Rich, how much does it take? Like you were talking that you do a lot of live. You do a ton of live. But if I don't have time because, I get paid to coach people or do their tax return or, sell them a house, how can I, who gets paid to do other things instead of being on camera, make the time to be that person?
So let's just say you're trying to sell a house. Let's just pick that for a second. Do you just think a live walkthrough tour of a house would be an effective way to promote a house?
Yeah.
Have you ever done it?
Well, I'm not a realtor, so.
I know, but no, that's what, we think our job is separate from the media world we can create. They actually interchange all the time now. We can intersect, literally take your camera and walk through and say, "Hi, I'm at XYZ. This house is going up for sale. Let me give you an inside tour." And then you walk through and walk and talk. Get a lapel mic that can clip on. Really easy. There's so much we can do now in live moment. And the reason I stress lives, people love to see the authentic. Mm-hmm. You can polish anything up, and we have over glitz, over glamorized. Excuse me. We'll edit out later. No, we won't. But you can do anything in post-production. But what I think people want is they like the authentic. They like the interaction. They like the real. And so by doing these lives, you never know what's going to happen. There's a mystery in every live we do. And I think people are partly drawn to that and to that authentic nature of, let's see how long they go before they screw up.
And in my case, not long at all. Because, Rich, while you were talking, I checked on the LinkedIn, and I think I did make a mistake.
No way.
Yes, I don't think it is streaming the way that I thought it would.
It's streaming on some of mine.
Well, like I said, it's
I'm on my page.
Not you.
So I'm going to do an experiment. This may freak people out here for a second, but so I'm going to bring up, there's you and I in studio. There's a delay on the actual plane on LinkedIn right now, but that's LinkedIn Live over there. And it's a different background for me. So there is a delay going on for people as it's streamed. because, like with regular broadcasts, everything runs a little bit slower.
Ah, well, I will say this. If anyone was trying to get to see me, well, I guess they're not going to see it now, but in the replay, if you took the time to watch this and you were trying to get in on the live and you couldn't because it didn't connect the way that I thought it would, please DM me. I'd like to know. And of course, there might be something in it for you.
So, what other question you have about that whole media brand stuff? Do you think I'm crazy telling people to build their media empire? Do you think it
Well,
really works, or what do you think?
I think it works. Don't get me wrong. Rich, it works.
That's
It works. I am just concerned about the amount of time it takes because I know how much time I put into it.
so.
And I know how
Part of
much time
this is-
you put into it.
well,
So let's help people do it without it being, too much.
So the joy of these lives, we use Restream here, and again today we're on multiple channels streaming out. You can record early and have it be live when you have it go out live. So let's say you can't do a 2:00 live every day. I block my calendar off. I literally block it off. No one else can book on it. But if you want to have it be live, you could record it in the morning, put it in your channel, have it be ready there, and you can have it drop every day at 2:00 as if it was live. Then you could manage your material. You could do several over one day on a weekend. You could block off, say, I'm going to do all my lives for the week. You could produce them in advance, put them into your Restream or whatever platform you use, and then they could drop down Monday at 2:00, Tuesday and just go right down the line, but you pre-produced it. So growing up as a child, great illustration of this. Growing up as a child, I loved watching Johnny Carson, Late Night King, and Jay Leno, and all that stuff. I thought it was live. I really thought they were over in Burbank, California, and they were waiting for 10:30 at night, my time, Central Time, and I thought they were waiting to go live, and Johnny was there. They recorded that in the middle of the afternoon. Johnny was long gone at home with his wife having a bourbon. And that's how you could have it go over different time zones. They would beam it up early in the day, and everybody in different time zones would have Johnny Carson. And you'd plug it in, have it be live at 10:30 in your different time zones. I wasn't smart enough. I bit into the illusion of it. So there are ways to produce it to have the illusion work for you and your brand. I use Google Docs all the time. You know that. You and I have shared Google Docs for planning and running of shows and guests. The last 2 weeks, we've had guests from the summit on the lives. And we intentionally said, here's access to the Google Docs. Once a date is filled up, you cannot go jump on that and go to a different date. And the guests we had the last 2 weeks filled their own time slot to be on an interview show. And I just went through and had them on day after day after day. There are tricks to making this easier than what it seems.
And there's also, to have your own show does take a lot of energy. It takes a lot of time and a lot of know-how. Well, not much know-how. But anyway, it does take a lot of time. But that doesn't mean that you can't be a guest on various shows.
Guesting is the number one way to do it first. I highly recommend authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, whatever you are, get on as many podcast shows as you can. But here's a trick of that too. Target podcasts that are in your market niche.
Yes.
Don't go be on a podcast that's going to talk about healthcare or plant food if that has nothing to do with your brand. It won't do you any good. I'm a media guy. I get on as many media-related panels, interviews, podcasts. I told you I have 27 different live things per week automatically that I'm doing. That's not counting the 2 or 3 podcasts per week I do on average as a guest. But I'm a junkie for this.
Yeah, if the thing is if you're finding that it's too time consuming to go out and get to do the guesting, there are people out there who will book you and get you on to these shows. And that is, you'll find that out when Lillian Sue gives us her talk on publicity and how to get publicity and how to get on those shows.
Well,
as well.
Well, and
Um,
then someone else is going to talk about what you do with those shows once you're on them. That's why this is so important to stay with the summit, because you're going to get one piece of the puzzle, but not all of it. We wanted each speaker to be laser focused on a content area so that it made sense. Instead of just shooting fire holes in you, you get a nugget, and in the end, you're going to have a masterpiece of all these elements.
and Bonnie's going to talk about how to create that standout content. Now, here's the thing. When you go on these shows, you have a content creator creating content for you to use to up your brand. So, you know, Bonnie knows exactly how to create content that stands out. So you're going to want to come and listen to her and find out what it takes. But, you know, if you feel that you can't, you know, there are content creators like Bonnie who will do it for you. Or, you know, you go on these shows and then you got that content and it didn't have to, and it didn't cost you anything, provided that you use it and you don't just share it once.
Well,
You know,
or if you're wanting to do more of what I do and what Shannon's getting more into, I love helping people do exactly what Shannon and I do. I help other people run their events, host their events. Because people have the ideas. You may have an idea, but you may think, I'm not ready for prime time yet. That's fine. You can get people like me to come in and help you, and it grows bigger and bigger every time you do it. And you learn along the way by having hands-on actionable coaching and teaching. That's another way to grow your skills besides just doing it by yourself and thinking, am I good enough?
let me tell you, I've learned a lot this past month about putting on this summit. And the great thing about being on a summit like this is I do all the work and you just show up and give your talk. So there are things like that as well, where you can find people who have things like summits and you come in, you give your talk, and they do all the work for you and create that content that you can utilize. So, you know, there are so many ideas that are going to be coming at you this week. Rich is going to be coming back again and talking about speaking and how to make speaking. You know, it's important to be able to give your presentation and to have that energy and to really understand that box that you are in when you are online. You know,
Well,
speakers.
because the box isn't a box. Let me give you a little teaser. This is your stage. This is your stage. I coach people on how to make this your stage. This is not a Zoom or a Google Box or whatever platform you use. This is not a box. This is TV. This is your stage for whatever industry you're in. And I help people communicate on that stage for their brand message in a fun, creative way that, again, I don't care where the camera is. I don't care where the mic is. I'm just going to look at you and talk to you. And we're going to talk more about that.
You know, there's so many things that you're going to learn this week. There's great speakers that are coming out. And if you have a question that you would like us to find an answer for, if you're struggling with something right now, you're frustrated, you don't know if you're kicking that dead horse, or you feel like you're banging your head against that brick wall, throw that idea or throw that question or that frustration into the chat, or email me at shannon@shannonpeel.com, and I will do my best to ensure that one of our speakers answers that question for you. And we get you an actionable idea to help you stand out in today's marketplace.
And again, every one of our days, we will end with a panel. So the three speakers you saw throughout the day, you will end with a Q&A panel that we will moderate. So you actually have 5 experts on screen with you, and we will moderate, take your questions, take the questions that we have throughout the day. Maybe a speaker will have a question of someone else to cross-pollinate, but we want to be as robust and live as we can, that you actually get the information you want as soon as we can get it to you.
Yeah. And the other thing is if I do have some issues, like if the technical things are not working like I found out, please email me. Let me know, because I need to learn. And that's another reason why this is $25, because it is not going to be perfect. It is going to have some hiccups along the way. And I will do my best to make sure that you get the best experience, that you get all the information. But what this really boils down to is the book. When you get the book, you are going to be blown away, because everything that the week is going to be there plus more.
So again, for those that's joining late, you may have come in late. My Facebook feed I know is feeding out and still going strong. I just dropped that in the chat. Tell us more about this book. People may not have come in right at the beginning when we first talked about it. We're into hour 2 now of the 2 hours, so we're going to be winding down in the next 30 minutes or so. But tell us about the book and the value of what they get out of this book, because it's not like a normal book.
No, it's not like a normal book. This is not a book that you can get on Amazon. It is not an ebook. It is not a paperback. It is not a hardcover. This is not a book. We call it a book because it uses flipbook technology, but it is a digital multimedia interactive experience. And it will have everything from the week that we have. It will have offers from our speakers. It will have they'll have giveaways in there. There will be worksheets in there. There will be articles, tips, ideas, podcasts, all sorts of things to help you stand out in the marketplace. And then we bring it all together on March 20th for a launch party. And everyone that has a ticket to the summit will be invited back to that launch party. So whether you have a ticket to the summit or you buy the advanced copy, you will be welcome at the party. And when we do a party, it's going to give me some time to get some stuff together to make it that much more fun, because we know that Trigger's value is fun. So we got to make it fun.
Well, and it's also extremely, extremely well done. These books are extremely well done, but the content literally is ripped from what you're seeing, what you're hearing. So there's a lot of that thrown in there, but then the bonus stuff takes it to the next layer from each one of our expert speakers. Mm-hmm. So it really is going to be a very handcrafted, specific book to this summit. It's not something, again, like Shannon said, you're going to find someplace else. It's going to be very customizable.
Yes.
And that's why we want your question. That's why we want your feedback. As we're going through this week, we want you to participate, because that stuff will even add more content and more value to this book that you get at the end of it all.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I like being behind the scenes and doing all the little things here and there. That's why we have Rich to pump it up a bit, pump it up. We need some music, Rich. We really do.
I actually want to put back in there again. If you want to learn about the other summits we have coming up, we have other summits that are already in the works. And if you want to be a summit leader with us, if you have a topic that you're thinking, I would love to have a live week-long event, but I don't know how to pull it off, that's what Shannon and I are here to help you do. We have currently the Standout Summit, the Speaking Summit coming up. We have Beyond Trauma Summit, and then we have Embrace Equity Summit. We have those summits already planned.
And more.
And more.
Yes, because we have the Achievement Summit, how to achieve the success that you want. We also have, I'm also talking to a couple of people who want to do a how to write and publish a book summit. So we'll see if that one goes. Basically what happens is once you buy a package, because there's a tiny little fee involved, it's not very much, and if you participate, hey, you might even get it back. The thing is that once you've done that, we have a one-on-one. I have a conversation with you about your ideal audience and your topic. And if I don't have a summit for you, I create one. We find a week that works best for you, and then I go out and find 14 other speakers to join you.
So right now, for the Standout Summit that we're just launching, this is open, peek behind the veil of it today, get to know us a little bit and learn about what the summit is all about. And remember, it's going to be 15 live speakers going on, 5 days with live panels, keynotes like you've seen. Some of them will be interviews, some of them will be discussions, and some of them will be surprise guests coming on live with. And I think, Shannon, we might have a live guest coming on in a few minutes.
We might. That would be great.
So I'm going to get ready to see if Rita wants to come play with us. Rita's going to be one of our speakers at the summit. I know Rita's in the green room backstage, having a little bit of fun. And I think Rita is ready to look at that. By magic, Rita, how's it going?
Now, there is a little thing here, because Rich was talking about a brand earlier. And Rita loves that brand. Rita, which brand do you love the most?
I don't know, it might be Disney or something.
And the crowd goes wild.
Rita, where do you live?
Jacksonville, Florida, 2.5 hours away from my real home, which is Orlando Walt Disney World, where the castle is. I always joke to everyone I know, if you get lost or if I get lost, doesn't matter what city I'm in, you will find me at the castle. That is the landmark that you can always find me at.
Yes, yes. Rita, you are definitely the Disney queen. My nephew, my my brother and his wife are taking my nephew to Disney World this few weeks actually. The last time we were there, my kids, which is right over here, were about that size. And we took them to Florida with my brother and his girlfriend at the time, who became his wife, and I met her there. It is a magical place. It is definitely filled with wonderful memories. I just loved my time with my children at the, thing. I mean, my daughter, she was just amazed. Like we stayed up late so that we could go to the grotto so that she could meet Ariel. And my sister-in-law thought, oh, this was horrible. Like, she didn't say anything. It was terrible. Like, she just stood there. And then we get outside and she was like, I met Ariel. It's the best thing ever. It was a really great time to connect with the family because my parents were there, my brother and his girlfriend were there, soon-to-be wife, and then me and my family were there. It was just one of those magical moments. Why is Disney so magical for you?
It's magical for both the nostalgia and the love of it. I also grew up going and had the same awestruck moment where I met Ariel for the first time. But as an adult, it fascinates me from a branding perspective that they are able to evoke emotion in their product, service, and customer experience that lasts for generation to generation. And in any business, if you're able to create that customer lifetime value, whether it's a product or a service that you have, and people are able to correlate that product with a feeling, they have a sense of what you do, how you do it, and why you do it without you having to tell them, that's effective branding. And for me, of course, when I was a little girl, I didn't understand any of that. I just knew when I heard Disney, I thought magic, I thought wonder, I thought I'm going to have a really great time and I'm going to really enjoy it. So as an adult now, with what I do now with my podcast production agency, if I'm able to recreate that branding element and someone else's content to where they can have other people explain how their business makes them think or feel or act without us having to tell them, that's an effective branding play that will make you stand out. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, because it takes very abstract concepts and helps us to understand it in tangible and just simple ways to, especially if you're just starting out, when you're trying to understand branding.
Well, part of that branding of Disney, part of the magic is that they have the value from Disney passed on down. Of the idea is when you walk in and you go down that central street and you see the castle, they want everyone to do what my former wife did. She literally screamed, and she was like 10 years old again with our own kids with us. She was the first one to melt. He wanted it to be a magical step back in time where everything was perfect. And they've raised that value so much. If you bring your kids and your kids had that, they get their first Disney shirt, they got it at the hotel, they're walking in with Mickey or Minnie or Pluto, they get that ice cream. They always have an ice cream stand right there. You get that first ice cream and it goes right down the front of the shirt. Someone from the Disney team will come up and take you over to another store and say, our princess just got an ice cream on the shirt. Everyone goes, oh, wow. And they go, here, take them to a dressing room. She gets a brand new shirt, identical to the one she had on. And they take the other one. They don't throw it away. They clean it and it goes back on her bed in her hotel at the Disney Resort. So when she walks back in after a great day, her other shirt is there waiting for her. That's the magic that they put into everything they do. Now, how can you do that, Rita, with podcasting and branding? How can you bring magic alive with a podcast?
Yeah, that's such a great story, because it's often what we first think of when we imagine how Disney is applicable to a business realm. We often think about it from a B2C perspective. Me, I'm a business, I sell you a client a product. But what's interesting is that in podcasting, there is a guest experience that you can provide for your podcast guests. It's just a virtual one. How are you infusing wonder and giving those magical moments to your podcast guests at each point of the podcast journey so that they create that asynchronous relationship with you? They always say 7 touches to make a sale, whatever. They change the statistic all the time. But imagine what your podcast guest journey is and think if each touch was treated as if I was about to make a sale, how will that affect their journey? And in turn, subliminally give them the feeling of what working with me would be like. Because often people forget that the content, maybe they just want to get it out, whatever. That's great. It's absolutely that way. It takes a lot of work to make content and get it out. But if you have the time to reflect at the beginning of this year and think, how can I make my content collaboration experience as effective and memorable and wowing as my business experience, then you are going to stand out and create that relationship with that customer who may not even know that they're a customer or potential customer yet.
Now we're going to cut Rita off because she's already getting excited. She's going to spill all the beans, and you have to come back. Remember, Tuesday through Friday, $25 for all amazing things. So, Rita, thanks. Say hi, Rita. Bye, Rita.
Thank you, everyone. Have a magical day.
I love it. Have a magical day. Hey, let's keep the fun going, shall we?
We shall. Hey, Carolyn, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm doing wonderful, doing wonderful, doing wonderful.
It's a great day. This is what I do for a living. I could do this all day long.
It's so great getting to connect with people and share, and I love the internet.
So, Carolyn, I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
Now, you do book funnels. How important are book funnels to the sales process?
Funnels are important everywhere, all the time, for everything. Funnels always work. And it really connects very well with what Rita was just saying about considering the guest journey, because sales funnel is just a way of saying the customer journey and how are you creating touch points for each part of the customer journey where they're just discovering you, they're learning about you, they're coming to understand what you do and whether it might solve their problem. So you just create those points to gently guide them along the way. And that works for some books, it works for selling things, it works for everything in life. Everywhere I go, I see funnels.
You are a funnel the thing with you is you totally got passion for funnels. You are crazy for funnels, and you have something called the VIP day. Why are VIP days so important for people who are in the service industry or who create content or build things for people? Why are VIP days so profitable or workable?
I love the VIP day model for a number of different reasons. It is about getting a project finished in one day, or sometimes people will do it over 2 days. They'll define this is the package, so it doesn't draw out. And especially when you're talking about getting a funnel, you don't want to wait on that. The sooner you have a funnel, the sooner you make sales from it. And so it's great for the client. It's also really great for me because I work best in these hyper-focused bursts, and it just matches with how my brain is. So I love getting everything done. I love the delight on people's faces when I give them a finished funnel after only 8 hours.
Yeah, so it's, that's a great tool and way for coaches or content creators or website people, anyone that is creating something or building something for someone, that VIP day, that day that is devoted to that one person can be a good package or a nice little offer for them.
And then it's not hanging over your head. You're not like, oh, I have this endless to-do list. That only happens occasionally. I'm behind on some things now.
So I'm also interested in, there's a lot of written stuff and a lot of speakers are talking about funnels are dead. they're saying funnels are dead. They've been overused, over manipulated. And I can already see by the look on your face, you're like, no. So why are funnels not dead? Or what's making them die? Why are people turned off by funnels?
That was a great question. Funnels will never die because they've existed in a different way of a different phrase, right? Somebody came up with funnel as a way to describe this, probably Russell, but they existed before him. They've existed forever. There's always this way of laying a path out because when a customer walked into your store and they're browsing around, you have ways of helping them figure out whether you sell the type of thing that they want. And if they aren't ready to buy yet, maybe you give them like a brochure or a loyalty card. Like, this customer journey thing isn't going anywhere. But of course, people associate the word funnel with a very particular type of marketing, which is pushy and aggressive and loud. And nobody wants to treat their audience that way. And nobody wants to be treated that way as the consumer. So I like to look at a funnel more as a path, like a garden path that goes from your gate to your house. And how do you lay out this nice path for people to follow? No pushiness, no aggressiveness. Like, you're ready when you're ready. We don't need to get on a phone call and make sure that you say yes, and I'm going to make you cry until you say yes. That's insane. Who wants that person for a client?
I can't see you making anybody cry. I just can't see that being a part of the way you operate. Now,
but I had such an important learning process to that because when I was starting out in online business, I hired a business coach who taught the ClickFunnels method, and it never worked for me. And it gave me this real light bulb that marketing isn't about the tactics. Marketing is about your heart. And so a tactic that doesn't feel right to you is never going to work. The tactic, that tactic might feel right to some people, and then it works gangbusters for them. Fantastic. But it was never going to work for me because it doesn't align with my feelings and values and how I want to communicate with people.
So what's going to be one of the biggest teasers you can give us for your speaking time on the summit? What's the thing that you can make it go, ooh, I got to come, please?
Oh my goodness, I should have prepared something ahead of time for this. I'm really excited to talk about YouTube and the amount of opportunity that's there. Yeah. I mean, when we were kids, could you imagine that you could just decide one day, I'm going to start my own TV show and just do it?
I did.
Yeah, of course you did. Okay, bad example. But like, you don't even need to pay any money. You set up your free YouTube channel. You got your phone already. You just get to go and connect with people and create. And it's so incredible. And that is one of those places where you can take the first step, where you're meeting people who've never heard of you before, and you get this opportunity to introduce yourself and what you do and get them excited about it. So I'm really thrilled for YouTube as a lead generation source in 2023. So I can't wait to share how to get started doing that.
Well, and there are some key changes in the whole methodology of YouTube. There's some massive changes that I'm totally loving, because I honestly let my channel go shallow for a while, and I brought it back to life about a year ago. We started to bringing it back, and during that year, some of these new things came out, and it's like, oh, why didn't you do this a long time ago? It's so much easier.
There's so many features, so many things that you can do with it, and I just have so much fun exploring all these different avenues within YouTube and different ways of building community, different ways of reaching people, different ways of telling the story and getting them excited to learn what I'm trying to teach through the visuals and the storytelling. It's amazing.
Looking forward to it. Any final comments, Shannon, before we let her go back and have some more fun?
She has a school. What do you call your school?
It's called Website Traffic School.
So you're going to learn a lot about YouTube, how to drive traffic, and how to get people from awareness through to advocacy, thanks to people like Carolyn and James and Bonnie and Lisa and Rita and Gab and Earl and Daniel and Ilona and am I missing somebody?
Oh, I'm sure we are, but don't worry.
I really apologize. I'm so sorry.
We've got 4 more days of doing this. So, hey, great to have you dropping on in. We look forward to having you back. And again, YouTube is a big game changer for a lot of people. Look forward to hearing what you got to share on that. Thanks.
Thank you.
So, little drop-ins, little fun here, surprises. You might get more of that type of stuff throughout the week too, right?
Yeah, I think you will. I think you will. There's going to be lots going on, and I really want to raise the bar. So if there are things about summits or events, or this event particularly, that frustrate you, that bug you, that you aren't really happy with, let me know at Shannon@shannonfield.com so I can raise the bar and make this event and all subsequent events the best out there.
So I'm going to drop on the chat just a little bit of reminder of all the goodies that you're getting in here. This is just the kickoff day today. Much more coming, but your ticket is going to get you the 15 virtual live presentations. It's going to get you 5 virtual panels. Every day wraps up with a panel. We've been doing some of that right now, having fun with this. We're going to give you access to live networking, 2 live networking events. And then you also get access to the video replays. If you purchase your ticket, there will be replays made available because we know you have life, you have work, you have kids. We get that. Then we get a copy of the digital book, which again, Shannon, that's a $39 US value right there. And your ticket's only $25.
That's right. That's right, Rich.
And then
so
more
you can get a
discount.
ticket for $25 and get all of this, plus be part of the book creation experience.
And again, that's I mean, you literally get help us create the book. The finished product is not done yet.
No, it's not, because everyone that's at the summit, the speakers, the attendees, you all get to be part of the experience of the book as it rolls out. And, you know, I may be adding something that you said. I may be adding a quote or a question, or you never know what I add from the speakers and those that attend.
And I've got a surprise about the Spotlight feature that I do that we'll be giving away a very special item with that. But you got to register, you got to join, come in, meet all these amazing people, ask all these questions, get the information you want, level up your game. And the whole idea is, again, we want you to stand out brighter and brighter as a go-to expert in your field. And these are the people that are going to help you do it. And then that finishing book is going to be a great way to remember, flip through, revisit. There's so much going on. And then these bonuses, we're going to surprise you every day with another little drip, another little goodie. Keep it fresh and fun every single day.
Yes, and it is going to be evolving. I'm going to throw things here and there. There might be a few curveballs, so keep your eye on your inbox. And I will try to get the emails to you as things go up on the replay. You'll get an email with links to tomorrow and let you know who's speaking tomorrow, what their topics are, what the topic is, or so that you know what's coming up. As well, if you know anyone who wants to stand out, who wants to be a speaker and use speaking as a marketing channel, who wants to just get their business to the next level, let them know about the Standout Summit. Bring along a friend or two.
And again, we're streaming this day live every day. Well, right now we're streaming this one today. The rest of the week, we're going to close it up behind the paywall. You got to come join us. And after this event, we'll start teasing the next one up because they're not too far apart. We'll start doing the same thing with the 2 p.m. lives and doing all that. We want you to know these people in advance. It's tough sometimes to go to a conference, go to a summit, and you don't know what they're about. They don't know what they're really going to do. And it's kind of like you're just buying a brown paper bag. You really don't know. Part of doing our 2 p.m. lives is so you would have some insight, some understanding of the value you're getting before you jump into it. So make sure you keep watching, following along with those emails, the replays, the other thing. Once you buy your ticket, you're kind of in the family.
Definitely. And the other thing is that the reason why we're having the networking party and the book launch party is because we want the audience to be able to connect with the speakers and the speakers to connect with the audience, and for everybody to connect with everybody, because why be here if you can't make a connection?
Final thoughts before we wrap out for the day. This is the first day. Shannon and I had the privilege of kicking this off, sharing some insights from our expertise. And we want to let you meet more of the fun people. So many amazing people coming into this. But final comments, Shannon, before we say goodbye until tomorrow?
You know what? I am pumped. I am excited. This, this is coming together so nicely. I know that it's the right path, and I know that it's the right thing to do because I'm having so much fun.
I look forward to doing this week. I look forward to the content everyone's going to get, the ongoing conversations. Again, if you want to, email Shannon, find her on LinkedIn. It's really easy to do. Find myself. Continue the conversation anytime. We'd love to continue to do this with you. Until now, I see you on Facebook. I see you on LinkedIn. I see you on YouTube. I see you on all these different pages. Thanks for being with us for the kickoff of the Standout Summit. We will see you here tomorrow, noon Eastern time. We go live. And again, $25 get you access to all this amazing stuff. Save the chat, use the links, and keep watching for more information.
And keep your eye on that inbox for tomorrow's link.
We'll see you then.